Hi, in this video I want to talk about believing the right thing for the wrong reasons. And I guess it comes down to what my interaction with other human beings and other creatures and how obnoxiously, I know words cliche they are, the catch-22 of human beings. In many cases you see a person, they believe something. In many cases you realize they believe something for the wrong reason. And you can do it for yourself too. You can be a hypocrite, but you know your fuller context. And I can understand my fuller context, and I can know that I can be a more reasonable human being, a more honest human being, as opposed to the average human being, and I can recognize that and use that as a context based on not only that, but knowing a person more than just as much as they may know themselves, at least as much as I can know, say, a person from my point of view, as opposed to knowing themselves and then their emotions. But I can generally understand the average human position of um, taking a position of or a point of view. And I can notice based on the context that a person gives just from knowing them for 5 minutes and say discussing a topic or discuss something, and you realize, okay, they believe something, but they believe it for the wrong reasons, or they believe this, but they also believe something else. It's kind of just contradicts what they believe. That means anything. It takes away from that belief that was so meaningful. But they believe it because they fit into some kind of cliche. Okay, they believe anarchy or whatever, but that's because they dye their hair black and they have all sorts of piercings and tattoos. I can believe in anarchy. Doesn't mean I do, but as an example, hypothetically speaking, I can believe it. But I don't have to be that cliche, but they believe it, and that almost reinforces the cliche that you're going to expect to see when someone, say, believes in some kind of, anarchy or whatever kind of cliche belief you can think of. And it usually comes with cliche beliefs. They can, relay a platitude that you haven't heard for 10 years, but that doesn't mean, I know this is mush, but whatever. Mostly psychology videos today because I've really covered the important topics all the way thoroughly. But yeah, usually the cliches come with the more cliche the person seems. I know I've covered cliches a lot, but it does come down to social, a mutual understanding of ideas and social um, understanding, and I guess intersubjective beliefs between certain subjective individuals, and how they all have their own faults and their own catch-22s, and how in many circumstances they can be the downfall of, say, your expectation in human beings, or what they can stand for. But many people believe the right things for the wrong reasons, and it usually comes from a place of ignorance. They just hear something and they believe it because they heard it. That's a wrong reason to believe something. You should know it factually. But if that's the thing that you have to do to get someone to believe the right thing, it's at least the right thing, and it's the wrong reason, but it's the right thing, and the right thing in the end is what matters. For like your feelings are the reason. It doesn't matter the reason. It's just how you did it. It doesn't matter what caused the feelings. It just matters that you believe the right thing or have the good feelings in the end. It's the feeling in the end, or the believing the right thing in the end. The right belief or the right thing. Having the right information, the right facts, all those things have some kind of meaning, and that's what matters in the end. Like I mentioned before, take the 2 steps, or the 1 step with the pain and deprivation. The deprivation, you have to take the 2 steps, and the active pain, in and of itself, is something you have to take in 1 step. So those things do mean something. So, what else is there to mention on this subject? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, plenty of people, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. In many cases, you can see exactly what a person believes. You see so many circumstances where a person says oh, I'm different, I'm a sore thumb in the crowd, or whatever it is, example or saying you want to use. People say a saying, they say that when you look at them, you say, you don't look any different from the rest of these, chumps. I mean, whatever you want to call them. You look almost, exactly identical to them. I see like 5 people that look exactly like you in the crowd that you're standing in. It's almost hard to distinguish you. And you talk about how you're so different. No, you're not really different. Trust me. I know difference when I see difference. But sometimes it can be a little misleading, I suppose, like anything else. So yes, people believe things for the wrong reasons. if they believe something, you can almost tell they believe something because of the way they seem or the way um, they conduct themselves or the way they dress. I mean, I'm sorry to be on, but I'm being honest. The way you dress, the way you do this. I mean, you can tell there's a lot of pretense in what a lot of people do and how their beliefs, because it comes a lot of times their beliefs come with the way they do these things and vice versa. I mean, the beliefs come with the clothing. The beliefs come with the attitude. If you're in a bad mood, it's going to come with a certain disposition, or a certain disposition comes with a bad mood. If you're in a bad mood, you're more likely to act a certain way, and that's really the unfortunate fact of the obviousness of reality. In many cases, you can tell exactly what something's going to say or what something's going to mean, or at least as close as to reasonably possible that you can tell, I guess. So, yes, people believing things for the wrong reasons, or like I mentioned before, you can tell exactly what they believe, or all sorts of things like that, I suppose. But yes, believe. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say in this video. I'm sorry for making you wait or listening to my pauses. I'm just trying to make something out of these simple subjects. If you believe something for the wrong reason, I could give all sorts of examples. And they're just not really coming to me right now. I think we all understand that, many people can believe things for the wrong reasons. You feel like you have something in common with someone, all of a sudden you realize there's a catch-22, or you understand exactly what they believe because they fit into a cliche, and the cliche comes with that belief, or sort of like, or they believe the thing for the wrong reason. So, any number of things can be there's a catch-22. Say, like I was mentioning, the anarchist, you find out that they're an anarchist, but they believe in peace and world peace, and that's something you can mutually agree on, but it's only one thing, and that's a dead giveaway. If it's only one thing, you probably don't have much in common. But then again, many of those good things generally boil down to it's just a matter of how you're trying to reach that ultimate goal that you both agree with. You both believe in world peace or whatever it is, and the best for everyone, a fair game, but your ways of thinking that you're going to accomplish that are different. But that's the ultimate goal, the ways that you feel like you're going to accomplish it. Sort of like making this dichotomy, this false dichotomy of left and right, is kind of really just silly, and reinforcing it doesn't do anyone any good because you're creating all sorts of pretense and you're creating all sorts of lies and propaganda that are meaningless, and when you can just find the things that you can agree on and do the best that you can do to make a mutual agreement and to make the most of that agreement instead of just finding all the things that you disagree on and categorizing based on you're either on this side or this side, and there's only two sides. And boiling it down to that doesn't do anyone any good because you're just you're generalizing and categorizing far too much, far too often in that circumstance when you're contriving all sorts of false comparisons just to fit someone into that group, and contriving some kind of lie or excuse not to take someone seriously just because they believe one thing, therefore you categorize them over on the left as opposed to the right, and all of a sudden they have to disprove this thing that you're saying because they have to say that what you're saying is completely full of shit. And it just causes this cycle of nonsense where you're not really going to accomplish anything if you keep on doing the same thing and overreacting and getting a rise out of someone reacting to you, because you're just going to keep on doing the same old process over and over again. Oh, my throat. Anyway, yeah, like I mentioned, so a catch-22. It could be motivation, a driving motivation that's the thing that's driving you. It could be the catch-22, like I mentioned. You don't realize until you realize they believe something completely wacky, what it could be for the good thing. Take the things you have in common and use those to reach an ultimate goal that you may ultimately have. See the person's goals and what they want, and see if their way is better. Many times, just see what they want to accomplish and see the ways that they're accomplishing it, and see, okay, we want to accomplish the same thing. First of all, see if you want to accomplish the same thing. Then see in which way you're both accomplishing it. If you're both accomplishing this and trying to accomplish the same thing, and they just go about it differently, say, okay, let's see if we can create an understanding, or at least get on the same page, and see if we can come to some mutual agreement where we can say this is the best and most reasonable path we can take to reach the ultimate end, which we find to be the most reasonable and fair, to use as an example of a goal to accomplish. Or there can be, they believe something for the wrong reason. They're ignorant, therefore they just take it. And obviously, if they just believe whatever anyone hears tells them, all of a sudden they'll believe something the next week. Their feelings tell them something. Their ignorance tells them something. They hear something from someone else. They're very impressionable. um, or they fit into the cliche like I mentioned before, and you can tell exactly what they believe. But all those really boil down to one thing, and it's just a misunderstanding of what a person believes, and really just boiling down to see what you agree and getting the most out of what you agree on, as opposed to just finding getting off on an argument just to find all sorts of things you could disagree on. And that's not the ultimate goal. Find something you agree on. Come into an argument with the idea that you're trying to get along with someone, and then leave it up to them if they want to be the ones to screw up that relationship of trying to create some kind of reasonable and agreeable relationship you're trying to create. So I guess that's all I want to say. I mean, I think I may have missed a point or two that I wanted to mention more thoroughly, but that's fine. I think you understand the general idea of what I'm talking about. Um, so yes, if I have anything else to mention on the subject, I can mention it next time. I hope it wasn't too babbly or too incoherent or too, stop and go-y, where I have my moments, I suppose. So, I guess, until next time, and thank you.